A video appears on social media, November 19, 2024. Models in neon clothing walk through pink corridors. Slogans flash across the screen. Delete ordinary. Copy nothing. Live vivid. No cars. Just people posing with paintbrushes and hammers against backdrops that look like a children's soft play zone. This is Jaguar's rebrand. The company has deleted its entire social media history and announced its future. 3 million people watch, most of them laugh. The E-Type era, March 15, 1961. Geneva Motor Show. A car covered by a sheet waits in the Parc des Eaux Vives. British journalists want it tested before reveal. Jaguar executive Bob Berry climbs into the car at the factory in Coventry the previous evening and drives through the night, flat out across France, engines screaming, arriving 20 minutes before the scheduled unveiling. When the sheet comes off, the room goes silent. The E-Type looked like nothing else on the road. Long bonnet, curves that flowed from nose to tail, design derived from Jaguar's D-Type that had won Le Mans 3 consecutive years starting in 1955. Independent suspension front and rear, disc brakes all-around mounted inboard at the rear, rack and pinion steering. Top speed, 150 miles per hour, 0 to 60 in under 7 seconds. Price, £2,250, roughly £38,000 in today's money. Ferrari and Aston Martin charged twice that for comparable performance. Enzo Ferrari called it the most beautiful car ever made. The Museum of Modern Art in New York added a blue E-Type Roadster to its permanent design collection in 1996, one of only 6 automobiles to receive that distinction. Graham Hill won its first race at Alton Park in April 1961, 1 month after launch. Over 72,000 E-Types were produced between 1961 and 1974 across 3 series. This was Jaguar at its peak, racing pedigree wrapped in accessible luxury, British engineering that worked, design that aged into icon rather than relic. The E-Type didn't just represent what Jaguar was, it represented what Britain wanted to believe about itself in the 60s. Sophisticated, fast, beautiful, and attainable enough that owning one felt possible rather than absurd. The numbers. 2018. Jaguar sells 180,833 vehicles worldwide. 2023. 64,241. 2024. 33,000. The company stops production entirely. Every model discontinued. XE, XF, F-Type, E-Pace, I-Pace. Dealerships empty. April 2025. 49 cars sold across all of Europe. Not 49,000. 49. A 97.5% decline year over year. For context, Ferrari sold more vehicles in Europe that month. A company that builds fewer than 15,000 cars annually outsold Jaguar by a factor of 10. The collapse happened faster than anyone predicted. Ford era. Ford Motor Company acquired Jaguar in 1989 for $2.5 billion and immediately faced a problem they couldn't engineer away: positioning. Jaguar had been a niche luxury brand with racing heritage. Ford wanted volume. They added the X-Type in 2002, a rebadged Ford Mondeo with a Jaguar grille, and the S-Type, which shared components with Lincoln. Prices dropped, sales increased briefly, brand prestige evaporated. The strategy placed Jaguar directly against BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Audi. Companies with decades of experience building premium volume products, established dealer networks, and customer loyalty Ford couldn't replicate by bolting a leaping cat onto a Mondeo platform. Conquest sales from German brands proved negligible. People who wanted a BMW bought a BMW. People who wanted a Jaguar no longer knew what a Jaguar was supposed to be. By 2008, Ford was hemorrhaging money across all brands. Jaguar and Land Rover together represented a luxury problem the company couldn't afford during a financial crisis. In March, Ford sold both brands to India's Tata Motors for $2.3 billion, less than it had paid for Jaguar alone 19 years earlier. The company that tried to make Jaguar ordinary succeeded, just not the way they'd hoped. Tata acquisition, March 26, 2008. Tata Motors completes the acquisition of Jaguar Land Rover. The timing could not have been worse. Within months, the global financial crisis explodes. Tata had borrowed $3 billion as a bridge loan to fund the purchase. By the end of 2008, they've repaid only $1 billion. Sales collapse worldwide. Credit markets freeze. Questions circulate about whether Tata can survive, much less revive two struggling British luxury marques. Tata injects resources that Ford never committed. New models arrive. Aluminum-bodied vehicles, updated interiors, genuine investment in engineering rather than badge engineering. The F-Pace SUV launches in 2016 and becomes Jaguar's best seller, accounting for the majority of sales. But the fundamental positioning problem persists. Land Rover already dominated the luxury SUV segment. Why develop Jaguar SUVs when Land Rover printed money in the same category? Sales peak at 180,000 units in 2018, then decline steadily. Sedans fall out of favor globally. Jaguar's aging lineup can't compete with German rivals refreshing products every 7 years. By 2022, sales dropped to 61,000 units, the lowest since 2012. CEO Thierry Bolloré halts development of the fifth-generation XJ sedan, despite hundreds of millions already invested. Production ends for every model except the F-Pace. Production halt. Struggling was one thing. What happened next was unprecedented. November 2024. Jaguar stops building cars entirely. Not temporarily, not for retooling. The company announces a firebreak. Complete cessation of production for the first time since 1948. No vehicles in dealerships, no inventory, nothing to sell while the brand reinvents itself as an all-electric luxury marque targeting customers willing to spend £100,000 or more. Managing Director Rawdon Glover tells Autocar that Jaguar will no longer be on sale for new vehicles in European markets by year's end. The company admits that 85% of current customers won't buy the new electric Jaguars. Who did they think would? The rebrand. The video lasts 30 seconds. Models with angular haircuts and avant-garde clothing walk through spaces painted in saturated pinks, yellows, and blues that look like a David LaChapelle photograph minus the wit. A woman holds a paintbrush. A man carries a mallet. They stand in an elevator. They pose. Text appears. Create exuberant. Live vivid. Delete ordinary. Break molds. Copy nothing. No cars appear. Not one. Not even a suggestion of a car. Just people and slogans and colors that scream, "We hired the same consultancy everyone else hired." Jaguar has deleted its entire social media archive. Decades of posts, images, heritage content, everything, replaced with this 30-second statement of intent. The wordmark changes from Jaguar to Jaguar, mixing upper and lowercase letters in a way that looks like a font error. The leaping cat logo vanishes, replaced by a circular monogram that could represent anything: perfume, luxury apartments, cryptocurrency. The campaign comes from Accenture Song, a global consultancy. The creative director describes it as exuberant modernism. Managing Director Rawdon Glover tells media that backlash represents a blaze of vile hatred and intolerance, calling criticism unwarranted. Elon Musk responds on X, "Do you sell cars?" The post receives millions of views. People compare the rebrand to Bud Light's Dylan Mulvaney campaign, which cost the company $5 billion in market capitalization and a 28% sales decline. Others mention Twitter's rebrand to X, another universally mocked attempt to delete heritage in favor of abstraction. YouTube views exceed 3 million. Jaguar's social media team insists this is exactly what they wanted: attention. The eyes of the world are upon us at this point in time, which is exactly what we wanted, Glover says. The attention is real, just not the kind you'd choose. Type 00 concept, December 2nd, 2024, Miami Art Week, Jaguar reveals the Type 00 concept, a long, low, angular vehicle in two colors, Miami Pink and London Blue. No rear window, brutalist styling. Critics immediately compare it to Tesla's Cybertruck, noting the same polarizing geometry that prioritizes shock over elegance. The concept previews Jaguar's first new model, expected in 2026, with pricing starting over £100,000. For context, Tesla's Model S starts around £50,000. BMW's i4 begins at £55,000. Even Porsche's Taycan undercuts Jaguar's planned entry price. The company positions itself against Bentley and Porsche rather than BMW and Mercedes. The problem: Bentley sells 12,000 vehicles annually worldwide and remains profitable. Porsche moves over 300,000. Jaguar sold 33,000 cars in 2024 from a lineup of multiple models. The new strategy targets cash-rich, time-poor younger buyers, a demographic Jaguar hopes exists in sufficient numbers at six-figure price points. Public response mirrors the rebrand, divided between those calling it bold and those calling it a misstep so severe it resembles institutional sabotage. You can price yourself into irrelevance just as easily as you can debase yourself there. The collapse. Aftermath. 49 cars. That April 2025 number haunts the company. European Automobile Manufacturers Association data shows Jaguar sales down 77.8% year-to-date compared to 2024. In the United States, monthly sales average 500 units, down from over 1,000 in December 2024. Tata Motors stock reflects the crisis. Shares fall 8% across 8 sessions following the April sales report, dropping 10% year-to-date, even as India's benchmark, Nifty 50, gains nearly 6%. The market signals what Jaguar's management won't admit: the strategy is failing in real time. December 2025. Jaguar fires Chief Design Officer Jerry McGovern, the architect of the rebrand and Type 00 concept. According to Autocar, he's escorted out of the office. No official explanation follows. Days later, Jaguar Land Rover CEO Adrian Mardell announces he's stepping down. The company insists his departure has nothing to do with the rebrand disaster. Nobody believes them. A cyber attack in August 2025 shuts down Jaguar Land Rover manufacturing plants worldwide for over 5 weeks, costing hundreds of millions in lost production. By any measure, sales, stock price, public perception, executive stability, the reinvention is catastrophic. The company tried to delete ordinary. Instead, it deleted itself. Political backlash. President Donald Trump weighs in on Truth Social, targeting Jaguar's struggles as evidence of broader corporate failure. Jaguar did a stupid and seriously woke advertisement that is a total disaster, he writes. Mardell resigned in disgrace, and the company is in absolute turmoil. Who wants to buy a Jaguar after looking at that disgraceful ad? He compares it to Bud Light. Shouldn't they have learned a lesson from Bud Light, which went woke and essentially destroyed, in a short campaign, the company? The political dimension adds fuel to existing backlash, turning a marketing failure into a culture war flashpoint. Whether that matters to potential six-figure EV buyers remains unclear. What's lost? The rebrand debate misses a simpler truth. Heritage isn't nostalgia, it's equity. BMW didn't abandon roundels when building electric vehicles. Mercedes kept the three-pointed star. Porsche's electric Taycan looks unmistakably like a Porsche. These companies layered innovation onto identity rather than incinerating the past to make room for the future. They understood that customers buying six-figure vehicles want confidence, not revolution. They want to know the company that built their car yesterday can service it tomorrow. Jaguar had that equity. 7 Le Mans victories, the E-Type in MoMA, decades of racing heritage and British luxury, a customer base that loved what the name represented, even if recent products disappointed. Instead of building on that foundation, management decided it represented everything wrong, everything to delete, Everything ordinary. The company now targets buyers who supposedly want Jaguar precisely because it resembles nothing Jaguar ever was. The arithmetic is bleak. Lose 85% of current customers, hope to replace them with new buyers, willing to spend twice as much on a brand with no track record in the segment. Stand outside the old Jaguar factory in Coventry, empty now, silent. That's what deleting ordinary looks like. Not revolution, just absence.